So from the It's Learning perspective, we've seen, okay, so what does our platform actually do? Well, we help teachers to facilitate learning. We help teachers to organize their content. We help teachers to create their own content or to import external content and so on. It's more about setting the framework for a pedagogical context for the teaching, be it in the classroom or with online teaching, depending on what type of school you are and how you do your work. So then we have started looking at, well, how can we integrate AI into that in a good and safe way? We've started very slowly, too slow, some people may say. On the other hand, we're also navigating the legal terrain here, making sure that we stay on the right side of things like GDPR and sharing data. So basically, we started out playing around with we were developing the new survey tool that came out in September last year, and as part of that, we were playing around with how can we integrate AI into that? How can we use AI to actually help teachers with the goal of saving time? That's the most important part, because we know teachers are busy. So what we then did was to simply connect to ChatGPT and then ask it to create a survey for us. Obviously, we need to make sure the data is returned on a format we can actually interpret into a survey. So creating a new survey, what you will see is a separate tab. I will demonstrate this. I'll just quickly go through it. And then you input the topic and the number of questions. You set the survey type. Is it anonymous? Is it external? And so on. And you just have it generate your survey. For now, it's pretty simple. All the questions are multiple choice, and they will have the same answer scale, the agreement scale. So it's just, do you agree a lot, somewhat, not at all, and so on. And as with anything generated by AI, as you also know, having played around with this a lot, you need to review the content before publishing. For most of the times I've been experimenting with it, the questions I get are pretty good, depending a bit on my input. Sometimes it obviously runs out of ideas, so half the questions are completely useless. So you need to take a critical look at what is returned. And then just briefly also regarding the data protection and security, obviously you shouldn't put any personal information into this, any copyrighted material. That's a different part of the legal terrain that we need to navigate. The model that we are connecting to has been set up, so the data that's sent is stored for 30 days and then it's deleted, and also it's not used for training. And we are not sharing any user or customer information at all. This is all sent through the It's Learning account, so everything is completely anonymized. Unless, of course, you input actual personal information in the input field, which makes no sense when you're creating a survey. And after the survey is generated, there is no more communication with OpenAI. So once that's generated, it's just like any other survey existing only inside It's Learning. There's no connection anywhere. So let me see if I can fix this. There we go. Oh, sorry. I have too many windows open. I am now inside a course as a teacher, and I want to create a survey with AI. If you see strange things here, it's because this is a demo site where we're testing stuff. So sometimes we have very strange content and apps and stuff appearing. I've cleaned up most of it, but there may be strange things you see. Right, so when I then select the Create Survey with AI, I get this warning about inputting personal or copyrighted information. It is sent outside the EU. For those concerned about that, we are looking to change to a service within Europe. we have some technical challenges to resolve first, but that's on our plan. So we will keep this inside EU. This is not actually released to customers yet. We are working on that. It's going to be opt-in, which means we will not enable this for anyone. We will allow you to choose it. So the administrator or the owner of your organization can enable it for your users. So we will not do that for you. This is going to be an active opt-in for every customer. I'm just going to copy the text here. So then I can just input a topic. So I'm teaching chemistry, and I'm going to start teaching about the periodic table and atoms. So I want to know what my students know beforehand. Maybe a test would be better for this, but then you have right and wrong answers. In a survey, you're more open-ended, and that can be a bit more flexible. For the number of questions, we've just set some more or less random numbers to choose from. What we saw was that when you have more than 15 generated, it usually starts repeating itself. So that's not very useful. And below 5, there are too few to choose from. 10 is often a good one. So I can make this anonymous or not. And if I make it external, let's do that now so I can show you something else afterwards. I have some other options when the survey is generated. There are some tips here to what you can use it for, and also a short explanation of how this actually works, so you have that information before you start. This will be tweaked a bit once we change the service to the one inside Europe. So then I can simply generate this survey. Takes a few seconds, a few more seconds sometimes, depending a bit on the traffic. So it creates an introduction for you. And then this is, as I said, external and anonymous. So for those who haven't seen it, I wanted to brag about this one, where you now also get the QR code. So if you have an external survey, you want people to answer that, maybe also outside H-Learning, then you get a simple QR code to get directly to the survey. I'm going to share that. And then we have the questions generated. So there are 10 questions as I asked for. And they are all multiple choice. And if I open one of them, you will see that they all have these alternatives with it, which is what we call the agreement scale. So also in the new survey, we have predefined answer scales just to help you create questions more faster and to make them more consistent. If you want several questions that are the same, you don't have to type this in. It's just automatic. And now, as a teacher, I can edit this just as any other survey. At this point, there is no difference between an AI-generated survey and a normal one. So from our side, this was considered a good place to start in terms of risk. It is really simple. It is quite limited. We are completely aware of that, but we needed to start somewhere with our experimentation, and then we can build on that moving forward. Yes, as I said, I've had this in pilot with a couple of customers until now, so I've had a few discussions. I have a few more coming up, but aiming to allow customers to enable this sometime before the summer. We're working now on just making the settings work and so on. Just seeing if there's something I forgot to mention. Nope. So what we're discussing internally is still within the same type of context as this, to put it into tools for generating content, helping teachers save time for the things that we know are time consuming. One of the things we have been discussing that I'm a bit eager to get going, if I get the capacity for it, is to have this in the test tool. Not necessarily to create a full test, but to take away at least one of the really time-consuming parts, which is if you make a simple multiple choice test as a teacher, it's not difficult to create a question. And it's not difficult to create the right answer. The difficult part is creating the good wrong answers, to have distractors that are valuable as distractors, that it's likely that the students choose if they have some common misconception about the topic. And those are the difficult ones. But that should be fairly easy to get an AI to generate those for you, or at least suggest some and then you can choose. So that's one of the things I do want to look into. Soon is always a relative term when it comes to development, but yeah.